is that we want to connect with them for understanding how they are managing the ecosystem and how we are working as a global ecosystem of innovation, connecting our hubs of innovation. For this reason, let me give the word to the chairman of the next presentation, Professor Victor Alves, International Relations Global Experience Manager. Go ahead, Victor.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Josep, for this introduction. Today, we are celebrating our 20th anniversary with good results and expecting much better. And this is basically because we'll focus in innovation, but also in some important part of our knowledge, which is a network, which is the internationalization. Today, we are together with three different countries and responsibles for scientific parks. One of them is, I'm starting from one part of the world, Brazil, Technopol. Today, Mr. Flavia Fiorin is joining us. Flavia, welcome. The second park is from China, is the TusPark Scientific Park, Mr. Herbert Chen, the CEO. And also we have an Indrek Orav, is a CEO from Tallin Science Park in Estonia. So as I'm Victor Alves, I'm from Barcelona, and I'm moderate this roundtable with you all. So internationalization is important for all of the parks to expand the knowledge, especially with the innovation and the companies that starting global from the very beginning. And the knowledge abroad, it's important because with this knowledge, we can apply everywhere we are. We don't need to be physically in one place. We can be virtual and in any place and adapt the knowledge and the technology and the products and services worldwide. So I have a question for you all, or let me just introduce yourselves, and you can say something about what is going on in your parks related to internationalization. Let's start with the ladies. Mr. Flavia, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Victor, for the invitation of being with you in this important moment of your anniversary. I'm Flavia. I'm executive manager at Technopol. And for us, the International Alliance means expanding our potential for exploring the opportunity to innovate. So we consider this kind of alliance essential for our operation. We base our operation on an ecosystem logic where the diversity of our actors represent the potential to find proper combination to innovate, where physical and knowledge resources have the capacity to be quickly articulated to solve technological challenges, societies, and market demands, for example. So considering the deeply connected world that we are living, having international allies means being prepared to support the development of global business capable of acting in this global competition. But much more than that, being able to understand the opportunity to explore a global network cooperation, the potential to promote business that will generate positive impact. In these words, I would start our talk today.
Thank you for that. Mr. Herbert.
Yes, hello, everyone. Thank you very much to invite me to be here and congratulate for the 20 years anniversary. I think that is an important time. I'm happy to meet you from the spring, and I hope we can meet in person very soon. Tsinghua University Science Park, we call them TusPark, is originally set up by the very famous university in China, Tsinghua University. We have a very big site. It's about 770,000 square meters. is one park in Beijing. Not only one park in Beijing, now we're managing to set up the innovation base all over China. There's about 200 incubators in China. Not only in China, but also we set up some overseas innovation bases. So as you said, we have a Cambridge innovation base in Cambridge University Science Park. And also we have the innovation base in Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Japan, and Canada, and the US. I think today's topic is very interesting. Internationalization and international cooperation is a crucial issue today. So I would like to share and learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Herbert. Mr. Indrek, please.
Yes, hello everyone, and thank you for being invited into this interesting panel, and congratulations for your anniversary. We in Science Park Technopol, we are slightly younger, so we are just 18 years old, and we were established by the Technical University and then also joined by Estonian state and the city of Tallin. And since then, we have been looking for partners abroad, and we value international contacts very highly. And I think it's understandable that there are at least two important aspects. One is that international contacts, international cooperation is important for our science parks ourselves to be smarter, to be more educated, to learn more programs and more tools, etc. But secondly, it is as important, if not more, for our clients, for our companies, startups, scale-ups, and others, in order to be able to participate in international projects and to then scale their production and go international with their production. So yeah, absolutely, we are looking. We are so far happy with the cooperation we have had with your park as well as our international projects, and looking forward to new ones.
Yeah, thank you for that. In fact, you are an example of some strategic alliances we have worldwide, and we choose you because we are split all over the world, and explain how our focus on internationalization, especially on the vision of Giuseppe PUCRS as the president of the park, has from the very beginning. So my first question probably goes to you directly, Mr. Indrek. Why do you think is important, these international alliances?
Well, I think the biggest possibility and biggest challenge is the possibility to grow, to learn professionally new things, to learn from the experience of the others, and learn from the best practices of other parks. Increase the networks, to get to know extremely competent people from different areas, and perhaps even be able to use them in the future as consultants and mentors in some other programs. So there are so many advantages and benefits of international contacts and cooperation.
Yeah, very good. What about you, Mrs. Flavia?
So I would add that having international allies allows us to be inside the global business dynamic and expands our ability to innovate our companies as well, and not only innovate but react in these complex scenarios that we have been facing over the last 2 years mainly.
Very good. And what about you, Mr. Herbert? According to your the approach, you have a lot of international alliances, and some partnerships that will be very interesting to know as a best practice probably for all of us.
Thank you very much. I think if you think we have a big global, you fly from one point to another country, you need to fly to more than 10 hours. But sometimes we have to think we are living in a small village. That means if in one factory even, you have different departments, you cannot make one product by only one department. The different departments in the factory have to cooperate together to generate something. So by this point of view, I think the global, the whole over the world is one factory. We cannot solve any problem, we cannot meet any challenge by any individual countries, by any individual parks. So I think this is a common, and it's so important to have an international alliance to working together. We have to facing the challenge like the climate change, the energy, the food, no one can do them by themselves. And also the company we're cultivating in our science park, when they, at the day one, they are facing the challenge from all over the world. They are not only facing the challenge by local. So for science park, we should have our international network ready. When your tenants need some support on this issue, you can bring the resource to them. And this is so important today.
In fact, Mr. Herbert, you as a president of International Scientific Parks Worldwide, probably the common mission or the vision of that organization is also related with these alliances or these relations, international relations abroad, to having a better, best practices or something like this. Maybe you may mention something about it.
Yes, thank you for asking that. I think when you're talking about the cooperation, the science and technology cooperation, it's not the science and technology cooperation each other. It's the people cooperation each other. Mm-hmm. So people have to know each other, to understand each other, especially when you come from different country, different language, different society. You need time to understand each other first, and then the science and technology cooperation comes. But how people understand each other, know each other, you need to bring some opportunities and platforms and very nice chance that people meet each other. So I think that is the point. I think IASP is very important because the IASP have an annual conference, have a regional conference. At the annual conference, we have a very nice gala dinner. We have a biggest open ceremony. So people meet each other every year. For myself, I work in the IASP for more than 17 years. I know a lot of friends. The Indrik, you come from Tallin Science Park. You organize one world conference over there in a very nice opera house. So let us make a chance so we can go over there, shaking hands, have a drink together. I think that is so important. That's why from the next year, IASP will hold an in-person conference in Spain. That's my point, yes.
Yeah, very good point, Mr. Herbert, when you mentioned that at the end of the day are the persons who build the organizations. And sometimes we keep in our minds only the names of the organization and we forget the people. And the people are the ones who finally do the job, let's say. So, for example, Mr. Flavia, which do you think are the common goals for make this union of our parks, for example, between Technopol or La Salle or Technopol and another joint ventures or alliances that you have with other parks? Which is the thing that makes you or together, put together all of these alliances?
Perfect. Thank you, Victor. First, I would agree with Mr. Herbert because we are all about people. We are about innovation, creativity, but people in the first moment. We all share the purpose of connecting and articulating organization focused on entrepreneurship and innovation, and that's a common goal for everyone. But what we have seen over the last 2 decades is that we connect more intensively with parks in moments that we face similar challenges. When we have, for example, the opportunity to explore a common market or share technological development issues. For example, during the pandemic, as well as in different situations in society in general, we put a lenses on this kind of relationship where we had a unique opportunity to get our network stronger and cooperating for medical devices. For example, we had a device developed at Technopol that we could share the project, the design, for example, and that could be produced everywhere in Brazil or in the world. So we believe that when we have an alignment, a convergence of issue, a demand, a problem, or a technical issue, we are ready to cooperate and to share, to learn, and to work together, mainly.
Good. And what about the Tallin Science Park, Mr. Indrek?
Yes, well said by my colleagues already. I just have to agree. What else is something to keep in mind is that our companies, or sometimes there are just a few good companies in one specific area. For instance, if we take health technology or space technology or even fintech, and then it would be very useful to combine our efforts with some other organizations and to put together a common project or a joint project in order to get bigger group of companies going and networking and creating synergy. And because what we try to do, of course, in our parks is to help the companies to grow, to find the best business models, to find the markets, starting from the home markets, but soon they need to scale, they need to export. So with the help of exactly you in your countries, different science parks, but also through other contacts, we then try to, or help to enter the companies into new markets, which is a very big challenge. And all this support system that we could get from you by knowing the local markets, but by giving some advice or finding proper consultants, that is always very, very necessary and beneficial.
Yeah. Today it seems like it's normal talking about technology, talking about, you know, online meetings like today, which is quite developing in the recent years with the pandemic situation. It increased big time. But imagine that you have a product that is physical product that you have to distribute somehow, somewhere. You find the ways as a company, and based on this, scientific parks can make these companies grow. So how do you manage the international relations for things like this happen? For example, Mr. Herbert, yes.
Yes, I think to make internationalization or make a good relationship between the science park in different countries, you know, we have a special challenge is that at the very beginning, everybody think China is big enough. They are basic enough for local market. They don't have a strong willing to go overseas at the very beginning. Yeah. So for challenge from us is that at day one, you set up the science park and the incubators. For the people in charge for the international relations, you have to make the people understand how importantly you keep the international relationship with other companies, with other science parks. So to let your boss, you know, sometimes let your boss understand and let your team, your staff understand. And this is the basis for keeping for the international relations. And also, secondly, I think it's importantly to keep in mind that you are not only for international relations, by international relations, you know, the whole thing is coming from originally your requirement from your tenants. As I said before, maybe some company at the day one, they don't think they go overseas is important. But later on, after 2 to 3 years, they will understand how important it is to open the world market. So you have to think before then, earlier than then, make this international network ready. So when they need some help, you can just hand over to them, say, you want to have a meeting with a Tallin Science Park, you want to go to Basur, then we have people there. We can have an introduction and you can go over there easily to have a meeting over there, something like this.
Very good, very good. And you, Mrs. Flavia, how do you manage these international relations in Technopol?
Besides the points very well highlighted by Mr. Herbert, one of the challenges that I can bet that we also share is the challenge of having to make choices. We are often faced with more opportunities for collaborations than our capability to explore them. And in this context that we manage our international relations, we keep a permanent look for partners that have synergy with our operation. We celebrate MOUs with the ones that we match, and we maintain a permanent dialogue with our international allies, seeking to explore opportunities. But where we really focus and we get pleased is on the unfolding of MOUs into practical actions, where we identify benefits for those involved. And in these cases, we often face the need to make difficult choices due to the abundance of opportunities that emerge from that. We really enjoy seeing and living the things happening. So MOUs unfolding, it is what we seek in every relation, international one.
Yeah, very good. In fact, MOUs are very important as you mentioned clearly, Mrs. Flavia. If we sign contracts, but this contract doesn't work somehow, it's just wet paper. We say it in Spanish. So it doesn't matter if we sign something that we cannot match for the future and development of the park. But what about you, Mr. Indrek? How do you manage these international relations by yourself with the team, and how does international relations scale up for your park?
I think international relations are a pretty natural part of daily work. We don't have any separate department for international relations, since we are a small park of just 30 people, 30 employees. So everyone who works with some projects or works as an area expert, they are also involved in international communication. So that is one way of looking at it. But organizationally, we often look for international partners wherever we feel that we have a need to support companies in certain areas to become more international. And we see that there is an interesting market where several Estonian entrepreneurs would like to go. And then we start looking for partners. And then typically we may end up as a lead partner in such a project. And second possibility, which quite often comes up, is that some of our good partners from the past with whom we have had good experience contacts us with the same proposal. Would you like to join our consortium, or would you have the same idea and need? And then we just hop to the boat and join our efforts. As a last example, we joined with some Finnish and Swedish universities and science parks, and supported Estonian exporters in China market, in Malaysia, even in Chile. So in quite far away countries from Estonia, but together it is easier to accomplish such international scale projects.
Yeah, countries, it seems like they are far away, but as Mr. Herbert mentioned before, 10 hours away is probably the fastest if we go with the right airplane. Let's say if Elon Musk provide us with the right airplane. But anyhow, you mentioned something very interesting about universities, and in fact we are all related with universities. Tsinghua, Pontificia Universidade Católica do Rio Grande do Sul, the Tallin University of Technology. We are working with La Salle. We have to somehow promote this new brains, these new people, this new blood, for giving us new possibilities of, breaking the frontiers of innovation. Which are the synergies you as a park are creating together with your current universities or alliance universities, as Mr. Indrek mentioned before? You can start, Mr. Indrek.
Yes, indeed, we have had good cooperation with Tallinn Technical University as well as with some other ones. Of course, the key question or key challenge is how to commercialize more the scientific research and scientific results of the work of the university. And it is still a challenge because the universities do it themselves, but just to a certain extent. And we, again, in Science Park, we are more concentrated on the companies, helping the companies to take the scientific work or research and development on board. But I'm happy to say that we have developed now some joint projects with the university, created projects teams that helps the sort of transfer of knowledge from the university to companies. And in the past or in the recent years, we have had some very good examples where an idea was born first in the laboratory of the university. Then a company was created, a spin-off. They came to our campus, our science park. We incubated them, sort of. We organized investments, first round of investments. And today, I can just mention two. They are having already their own factories. One is producing solar panels, like solar stones for the roof. Very useful. It is stone and solar panel in one thing. And the second company producing certain types of drones. What makes them specific is that they measure the quality and technical characteristics of the power lines, electricity lines. So that's why, and both of these companies are now already international in terms of market and in terms of investor base. So yeah, lots still to do, but we are seeing some progress.
Interesting, very interesting. What about you, Mrs. Flavia?
Here, Technopol is an active mechanism of development and innovation strategy of our university, PUCRS. So we work deeply connected with the university at all levels, from undergraduate students and professors to postgraduate and R&D teams. This week we are running hackathon with other universities, and we support those teams, Brazilian teams, other universities around the world. We are 7 countries in this initiative, focus on developing solutions for cities' challenges. So the international interaction between park and university is a two-way road. We can take, for example, La Salle Technova itself, an institution with which we have a long-term interaction between parks, and recently we identified an opportunity to expand our cooperation with undergraduate students. And of course, I must mention another important example. The creation of Technopol emerged from the university's interaction with companies from R&D projects around 20 years ago, with HP, Dell, and Microsoft, for example. So the relation between companies and the university was the seed of what Technopol is today, and could also say that it's our daily DNA.
Right, very good, interesting. And what about you finally, Mr. Herbert?
Yes, it's because I come from a university science park. So from that name, you already know how close about the science park and the university. Actually, we are in the front door of the university. It's very convenient for the companies and professors working together. But I want to mention at this moment is about internationalization. What the university bring us for this at this point? I think at the very beginning, set up the science park day one, the university gave us a request. Say, if you want to set up this university science park, you must to go the world-class university science park. Because I think that Tsinghua University is very famous in China, and they request us, the management team, and you have to be the world-class university science park. I think that is very important. At the very beginning, we get this request from the university. And then when you go to the stage of international stage, you need some strong background. I mean, who you are, where you come from, this is important. And Tsinghua University gave us a strong branding support because we originated from the Tsinghua University. This gave us a very big advantage to talk with some other science parks. And also, by the way, our management team is more than 70% is coming from the university. So the university gave us a lot of human power. And finally, I think there were many tens of thousands delegates from overseas visited Tsinghua University every year. So they will introduce, part of them come to the science park. Sometimes the delegate request to visit the science park. Sometimes the university introduce them to come to the university science park. So this is open our door for the world. In 2018, we received 1,600 delegates from overseas. I think nearly half is introduced by university. I think this is my idea. Since the university helped a lot for the science park internationalization, and the other way around, because the science park in the front door of the university, we bring a lot of international companies to visit the university as well. See, and also we introduce students, meet the international companies working in our science park, give them the chance to do the internship. Many chances like this is helping the science park to go all over the world, helping us the internationalizations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Indrek, Mrs. Flavia. We have no more time, but as a conclusion, we may see that internationalization is like one of the important part from scientific parks. People are important, and besides the institutions, we have to take care about them. And the collaboration between parks and university, it seems like, is the essential for the future of our operations and technology innovations for the new challenges that we have to face for this work. Thank you for your collaboration, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Indrek, Mrs. Flavia. Thank you for being here, and hope to see you soon personally, as Mr. Herbert mentioned before.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.